Good evening. It is Tuesday, September 6th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. I'm pleased. My name is Big Reg. First of all, I want to say thank you for all the well wishes, and I greatly appreciate that. As you can see, I got rid of a little bit of my neck jewelry from last week. Still on
Gucci.
the men's. Yeah. As Jay Will said, got rid of that Gucci neckwear. Got a few months for recovery, so I'm still getting there, but feel a lot better without that. You'll have to excuse the little rough look. Unfortunately, your man won't be able to do any shaving for a while it's healed. So it's going to be a little rough. I'm starting my no shave November in September, so we're going to make it happen. I'm joined this evening by my brothers. Yeah. J3 with the long room on. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, man? Good to see you again. What's up, Professor J? What's happening?
What's up, J3?
We got the professors in the building. Before y'all jumped on, we had a special host in the mix for a few seconds there, the beautiful Jay Lynn. What's going on, Professor? How are you?
Yeah, what's happening, fellas? Yeah, Jalen wanted to pop on, but Mama swooped her on up out of here so she can take care of her evening activities. But I'm going to say it like this, just like Francis Tiafo, we getting all them naysayers out the way on our way to the big crown. Praise the Lord. Let's get it.
Absolutely. What's going on, BJ? How you feeling this evening, partner? Good to see you. All right, this evening, we're going to give you some quick hits. And for our main topics, we're going to briefly hit the WNBA. Got to talk college football week 1. And we're going to give you some NFL news and some games that might intrigue us for week 1. And it's actually quite a few. This is an interesting first week of the NFL. You got so many teams with new people in new places, and of course, kickoff Thursday with the biggin. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. Man, did y'all think that the Cleveland Cavaliers would swoop in and be the team that signed Donovan Mitchell in a trade with Utah Jazz? I mean, that was just crazy. I mean, of course, everybody thought, New York and the Jazz been negotiating with for almost 2 months to get the deal done. And then all of a sudden, because New York makes the move to extend R.J. Barrett, extend his rookie deal, which based on cap things complicated the Utah deal. The Cleveland GM was at the U.S. Open watching Serena Williams on Monday, heard the news that the Knicks had extended R.J. Barrett and that the talks had hit a little road bump, and with the call Tuesday morning, within 48 hours, had the deal done. Knicks couldn't get it done in almost 2 months. Cleveland's GM got it done in 48 hours.
That just shows how badly they wanted Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah,
so what's Utah going to do now that he's gone? That's the question.
Rebuild.
Well, Utah's in a full rebuild.
Yeah, they rebuild. Yeah, they go ahead, Big Ray.
Go ahead, Professor.
Yeah, they got a full rebuild. The draft picks that they done picked up. Them, offloading both of their big stars has really gotten them a lot of capital moving forward. I think in a couple of years they're going to be in a very nice position. But with Cleveland sweeping in like that, that I don't think anybody saw that coming. I thought it was a locked deal for New York to pull off the trade because, like Big Red said, they had been doing it for the last 2 months. And who knew that the R.G. Barrett signing would be the domino that knocked the whole thing down, and then Cleveland swoop in and they snatch a great player, and they didn't really give up too much. The nucleus of their team is still in place. Now you add Mitchell, and that's dirty. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they gave up Laurie Markkinen, forward, who's basically a journeyman forward. He's a good 7th, 8th, 9th player on your roster, not a star. And he's bounced around. He was with the Bulls, then he's with Cleveland, so he's bounced around a little bit. Colin Sexton, University of Alabama player, he had already been, his position had been taken by the draft pick last year, was rookie of the year, or not rookie, 2 years ago, who's doing well. So he was expendable. And they gave up this year's 14th pick. So they gave up a first-round pick this year, Obaji from University of Kansas. I think he's going to be a nice wing player. He can shoot a little bit. He can score a little bit, plays defense, but you don't know what he's going to be in the NBA. And then the big thing was them 3 unprotected first-round picks that they gave up. But those picks don't start till 2025.
Right.
And it's every other year. So they're going to get their 2023 and 24 draft, depending on, I think they have one of those things. So it's interesting. They're legitimately definitely a playoff team. They made it to the play-in tournament last year. And Donovan, they're a playoff team. And depending on how the chips fall, they could be anywhere from a top 6 to top 4 seed.
Yeah. It's crazy because that just leaves us scratching our head in this town, while we can never pull off, trades like that to really get a player to come in that's really going to make a difference. And since you're right, Brooklyn does have a problem because Cleveland was sneaky good last year. And now that they actually got a bona fide number one that can lead a team, and now he don't have, Gobert and whatever chemistry that they had going on there, I think a fresh start would be very good for him as well.
Yeah, Garland. Thanks, Sense. Even when you're not on live, we appreciate the help. Yeah, Garland's going. Putting Garland together with Spider, that's going to be a scary backcourt because Garland is a defensive guy too. He a lockdown defensive point guard. So what Spider's limited on, Garland can pick up, and Garland's long. And then they got Evan Mobley, and then they got the seems like he's been playing forever. The center,
that's right.
he only like 26, if 26. So Donovan Mitchell is their oldest star player, and all of them are under contract for at least 3 years. So that's a good deal.
They might be contenders in the East. That's a good thing.
That's a good deal.
And they still have Karis LeVert, and I think you were just talking about Jared Allen. But those, I mean, that's nice. And then you still got the cagey veteran Kevin Love still there too.
Yeah, Kevin Love's stealing money these days, but that's just my opinion.
Well, you need that Haslam influence in the locker room, right?
Absolutely.
He's still on the Miami Heat. He's still
he's coming back next year. They keep asking him to come back because you need that leadership in the locker room. So shout out. Also NBA news, kind of NBA news. We got to give a shout out to my man Steph Curry. While winning the MVP of the league, pardon me, not the league, also MVP, winning finals MVP, something they said he hadn't done because, someone always wins. Winning the Western Conference finals MVP, which is a new one. Steph Curry finished 3 classes last year during the NBA season to finish his degree at Davidson. So last Wednesday, Davidson threw him a special ceremony where they gave him a one-person graduation ceremony where he got his degree because when they had their graduation, he was in the midst of the NBA playoffs. Not only did he graduate, they retired his jersey, because that was one of Davidson's stipulations that you had to graduate to get your number retired. And they added him to the Davidson Hall of Fame. So
there you go.
Mr. 3 got another 3.
Wonderful. Yeah, you hear that, North Carolina? That's what y'all should have did for Vince Carter back in the day when he was graduating and took all that heat because he went to graduation and they lost that game 7, I think it was, of their playoff game.
Yeah. So shout out. So his mother and father both spoke, and they were extremely proud because when you're worth about $400 million, finishing your degree is, one of them things you really fixated on. But Steph told his mother he was going to finish when he left, and he made sure he lived up to that promise.
Excellent. Great job. Yeah, great job.
Speaking of people standing up for themselves and doing the right thing, I got to give props to University of South Carolina's Dawn Staley.
Oh, yeah.
Dawn Staley announced with the university's agreement that she was canceling the home and home series that they had scheduled to play this year with BYU. This year's game was supposed to be at South Carolina. Next year's game was supposed to be at BYU. And if you didn't hear about the information, we didn't talk about it last week, but about 2 weeks ago, Duke's women's volleyball team went to BYU to play BYU's volleyball team on campus. Duke's got about 3 or 4 African-American players, one that's a starter who's pretty darn good. And every time she would go back to serve, somebody in the student section, BYU says it wasn't a student. I don't know if I believe that. Right. Was yelling racial epithets at her the entire match. No one from BYU or Duke stood up to stop this from happening, to the point where the player went and told one of her coaches she didn't even feel safe, but she was determined not to let that man get to her. So she finished the game. BYU ended up winning. She didn't have a very good game. And the only reason why this got out is because she posted about it after the match on social media. And then BYU tried to clean it up. So, again, shout out to South Carolina, because she said she didn't think that was a safe environment for her players to play in, seeing the commitment that the administration had on dealing with situations like that. And she wasn't going to take her team, which was probably going to be all black, to BYU to play a game. Right.
See, that's an issue for me because, we're girl dads on this show, and I'm entrusting you as a coaches, because they got a staff. I'm entrusting you to take care of my child when they agree to come and play and matriculate at your school. And for her, Rachel Richardson, to endure this, and you have to have an outside light shine on it by you and then another coach from another school. Your coaches didn't even take the bat and stand up for you in those moments, because if she heard the racial epithets, everybody heard them. So how could that go on and you not stand up for your player and say enough is enough? Get that person out of this arena. It should have taken place.
Right. Or we not playing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's why I made sure to put neither team's coaches did anything to help the players.
It's crazy.
And then BYU, if the guy wasn't a student and it was in the student section, what's up with your students that allowed this to happen?
They don't
the whole
check
time?
that. Right.
So, But as we've heard in the pro game and now in the college game, going to Utah isn't a friendly environment for non-whites. And I just leave it there.
Yeah, they love when we playing for them, though, and getting that glory for ever their pro teams or their college teams. They like that part. They'll do that, but they won't protect us.
For you combat sports fans, I just wanted to give you a heads up. This Saturday, the 10th, there are 2 big cards out there. One is a boxing card. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, a dual title championship card that's going to happen actually Saturday afternoon, because the bouts are being held in not London, but in England, right outside of London. The co-main event features American Michaela Meyer, who's putting up her WBO and IBF junior lightweight titles against WBC champ Alicia Baumgardner to unify those titles. But the main event features the greatest female boxing champion of all time, USA's Clarissa Shields. She's putting up her WBA, WBC, and IBF middleweight belts versus WBO champ Savannah Marshall from England. Marshall is the only fighter ever to defeat Clarissa Shields. She beat her when they was an amateur in a points situation that was could be judged a little shady. So ever since then, Marshall's been talking trash that, she's better than Shields. So Clarissa said, I'm the biggest champion. I'm the big draw, but I'm going to come to your home state, your home country, fight on your promoter's card to show you and finally shut you up. So that's going to be
it's time to get Rumble. Right. And come on, what time?
It should be on Saturday afternoon. The co-main event and the main event should probably hit somewhere between 3-4 o'clock and probably be over by 6. And if Clarissa has her way, the main bout might not last more than a round or two because she want to knock this girl's head off. Because she's been talking trash about Clarissa Shields for years. So,
yeah, I hope she does have her way. I'm still disappointed at her coverage, at her being the greatest women's boxing champ of all time. I mean, I just don't get it.
She was the only person ever to unify 2 different weight classes, and she went down in weight.
Right.
She did it the opposite way most fighters go. She started at, I think, 168, then came down to 160, and even won like 2 154-pound titles. So
yeah.
She's the truth, but
yeah, this mess has to change because we wouldn't even have heard about Layla Ali if her last name wasn't Ali. You know what I'm saying? So it's like more light needs to be shown on some of the greatest women athletes, especially in the combat sports. Man,
I agree. It's good. One thing I can say that Matchroom Boxing is trying to do has done the best job of promoting their fighters. Now, most of them are European fighters, but they're headlining cards in Europe often. The promoters over here in the U.S. need to start doing the same thing with people like Clarissa Shields and Michaela Meyer, because they are great women titleists that don't get their shine.
All right.
If you like MMA, UFC 279 is also this Saturday night. The card has some nice bouts, but the big main event is Nate Diaz, Mr. Bad himself, and possibly his last ever fight in UFC because he's constantly in contract battles with Dana White, and this is his last fight on his contract. So Dana said, okay. He started complaining, I need a fight. I only got one more fight. I don't care who you give me. Dana said, okay. He gave him undefeated Kazmat Shemaev. This dude is a monster. And if he gets a hold of you, call it a night.
Lights out.
Yeah.
Night.
Yeah. He's from that Kazakhstan group where if they get a hold of you and can hold you down and get you on the mat, you're not getting up. So I think Dana was kind of, okay, you want to be big and bad, go ahead and take this dude. So it'll be interesting.
Oh, man.
Last but not least, the U.S. Tennis Open has reached the quarterfinal stages. Actually, right now, USA's Coco Gauff is playing her semifinal match against Caroline Garcia of France. But I mentioned it last week, the top seeds are dropping like flies. On the men's side, number 1 and number 2 men's seeds lost in back-to-back days. Daniel Medvedev on Sunday lost to Nick Kyrgios
Get him out
in a 4-set match. and Kyrgios looked like he was going to lose his cool for a second. Hit a ball that almost went into the stands. And if that ball would have went into the stands and hit a fan, he'd have been automatically disqualified.
Yeah.
I mean, he was within less than a foot at the top of the wall that he hit. Just something stupid. And he was in charge, but he ended up winning in 4 sets. And the biggest shock yesterday afternoon, Maryland's own, Hyattsville's own, Francis Tiafoe got his biggest win of his career in front of his mom, dad, and his twin. Beat number 2 and one of the GOATs, Rafael Nadal.
That's right.
In 4 sets.
And people need to know his story, how he got into tennis. You know, his dad was on the construction crew that built the tennis facility out in College Park. And he got his son in there and he became a janitor of that same facility. And he put a racket in both of his son's hands and was like, this how you gonna go to college. It's gonna be your ticket. And they're from Sierra Leone, and he took his pop seriously and he ran with that thing. So, man, when I heard that news, because I didn't watch it, I was just through the moon. Yeah, it
was a great match. It's interesting. Both Tiafoe and Kyrgios are fairly younger dudes. Tiafoe is still only 24.
Yeah, 24, yeah.
Kyrgios, I think, is maybe 27 or 28. But being in the younger group, they enjoyed partying and the lifestyle of being celebrities. But both of them, Tiafoe talked about it, spoke to each other and said, look, man, it's time. We need to buckle down and, try to see if we can get all we can get. And both of them have been improved so much this year. So shout out to Tiafoe. He plays tomorrow night, and he says he's trying to win it all. So there's nobody left in the draw that's, concerned on the men's side. So it's wide open. Anybody can win it, including the number 3 seed, the high seed left, the teenager from Spain who had been kicking butt all year, Carlos Alcaraz. He's still out there, and he's dangerous. On the women's side, besides Coco making it to the quarters, Jessica Pegula also made it to the quarters. If the name rings a bell anywhere in your mind, the Pegulas she's the daughter of the owners of the Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres. So this is a person who literally does not need to do this, but has been out there grinding, coming up the ranks the old way, doing her thing, and she's been playing very well. She's currently the number 1 ranked women's player in the U.S., so shout out to the Americans doing their thing. But, of course, the week was all about the queen. Serena gave us 4 wonderful days of her last shot at trying to win a title and her goodbye tour. She made it to the 3rd round in singles and played a doubles match with her sister Venus. Unfortunately, they lost in the 1st round. But Serena did her thing. She left it all out there, and it was beautiful. The way she ended it, thanking her mother and her father for all they did, and then finally saying, and lastly, if there wasn't a Venus, there wouldn't have been a Serena, and you're the reason why I'm out here. So again, thank you, Serena, for all you did, for your great career on and off. So
class act.
All right. Did you fellas have any, I know y'all both busy, been running around, but did you have any opportunity to check out some of that WNBA playoff games?
Yeah, I caught a few a little bit.
Oh, my goodness.
The Las Vegas-Seattle game. Whew.
Crazy. That series has been crazy. All 3 games have been back and forth. As we told y'all last Tuesday, both of the road teams won game 1. So Seattle Storm went to Las Vegas, won game 1. The Connecticut Sun went into Chicago, won game 2. So the higher seeds said, okay, we got to get this right. So both of the higher seeds won game 2. The Aces bounced back behind Defensive Player of the Year this year, former MVP and possibly MVP again this year, which will be announced, I think, sometime this week. Asia Wilson in game 2 dropped 33 points, 13 rebounds, had 3 blocks and 1 assist. I mean, she did her thing. And she was helped by point guard Chelsea Gray, who dropped 19 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. But game 3 happened Sunday afternoon. Game started at 3 o'clock. It was on ABC. If y'all didn't see that game, I highly suggest you Google it and watch it. This game went 110-98 in overtime. It was an instant classic, which included 2 lead changes and a game time bucket. 3 different things in the last 3 seconds of the game in regular time. Everybody says the women's game isn't interesting. I was on a little bit of
that's not true.
A little bit of a beef on social media with one guy talking about, oh, this Connecticut Sky game is the reason why nobody watched this. So I had to, put it in its place. But this game was amazing. I mean, Asia Wilson, again, did her thing, dropped 34 points, 11 rebounds, 3 steals and a block in game 3. She hit the first shot in that 3-second span, got the ball, did a little spin, may have traveled. I guess she got a pro extra step, hit a layup. The Seattle Storm called a timeout, moved the ball down the half court. They dump it in. Future Hall of Famer Sue Bird hits a 3-pointer from the corner to get the lead by 2. Vegas calls timeout, runs a play, hits Jackie Young in the lane. She hits a little short jump off the backboard, overtime. At that point, Seattle was just, I guess, stunned. They thought that game was over. End up losing in overtime. So the Las Vegas Aces take a 2-1 lead. And then in the other series, Chicago Sky, after losing game 1 to Connecticut after they beat them up, game 2, Candace Parker wasn't having none of it. Candace Parker dropped 22 on them real quick and easy. They jumped out to an early 10-point lead, just coasted the rest of the way home. But game 3, Connecticut said, nah, we gonna muck this up again. So they start getting physical and all that. Went down to the last shot. Sky wins 76-72. And again, it reminded me of those games for people like men's basketball. Connecticut Sun play like the old bad boys Detroit Pistons. They've got players that can score, but they're going to beat you up, make it physical, make you not want to come into the paint. And that's the game they're trying to do. And the Sky more of a free-flowing, we can score. We got multiple players that can shoot and all that. So it's a good series. Glad that they were able to take game 2. Again, Parker led the way, 16 points, 11 rebounds. She led 4 players in double figures. But both of these series are great. 2-3, they each can go to game 5. Game 4 is actually tonight for both series. Sky at Sun at 8 p.m. Storm, Aces at Storm at 10 p.m., both on ESPN2. So if you want to check out a good competitive basketball games, if you're not watching U.S. Open tennis, you got some good sports to check out.
Yeah, I'll just twist it and just say, man, support the women. I mean, you got guys like you came into contact with that's speaking ignorance. I mean, what is that you're looking for? The skill set is there. The drama is there. The physicality is there. You have women that can dunk. I mean, what's the issue? If you sit down and you actually watch the game, you'll see that it not only is enjoyable, but you can actually learn the players' names, who they are, what they meant to the game as a whole, and really embrace the entirety of basketball. It shouldn't be a distinction whether it's women or men. It's a strong sport, and the sport just needs to be there for it.
Yeah. And you
Not
talking
only
about
that, you're gonna get some fundamental basketball.
Right.
How the game should actually be played.
and for people to say these women aren't good, between these two series, you got 5 future Hall of Famers, definite future Hall of Famers playing in these series, possibly up to 7. So,
Yeah.
shout out. All right, let's get to this NCAA football. We actually had week 1. We had a real football week. And I want to start off with the most interesting game to me. And it's probably the most interesting game of Professor. Number 2, Ohio State played number 5, Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State pulled it off, but Notre Dame made them struggle.
Mm-hmm.
This was supposed to be, last year, this was the number 1 offense in college football. And they were supposed to be better this year, even though they lost 2 of their wide receivers because their quarterback was coming back, an extra year plan. They had another All-American wide receiver already on the squad. They had 2 younger players that were ready to move in, including Marvin Harrison Jr. to the wide receiver spot, plus an All-American running back. And Notre Dame made them boys fight and struggle.
Right.
Notre Dame was actually leading 10-7 at halftime, but the difference in the game was the second half. Notre Dame got shut out the second half, and the defense finally gave up 2 scores and ended up losing 21-10. But Professor, let me get your thoughts as a Notre Dame fan. What do you think of the game?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this without being emotional about it. So here's a couple of things. The Notre Dame defense, okay, Freeman, we already know, defensive coach came to be the head coach. So the defense was ready for the challenge. They were hitting, they were on the ball, they were putting some pressure on the quarterback. Like all of those things were in place in the first half. The issue that drove me crazy is that the genius that they say that Tommy Rees has, because there are a lot of people that said he should have been the head coach. His offense didn't live up to the billing. They have a quarterback that won the quarterback competition, similar to what happened in Michigan. And this is a quarterback that has the wheels, he can run, and he has an arm. The problem with Notre Dame and Tommy Rees's play calling is that he's too reliant on the run. You have a dominant tight end that people are saying could be the next Travis Kelce, and you barely even hit him with the ball. So the offense got stagnant in the second half because, of course, Ohio State made adjustments. The defense for Notre Dame, and I said this in our chat, by the fourth quarter, they're going to be tired. If Notre Dame doesn't put up a couple of more touchdowns to get to 24, they're going to lose this game. I didn't know that they were going to get blanked in the second half. Now, I am optimistic because this is a team that is very young. You got a young head coach. Things are coming together. And I didn't tell y'all that Notre Dame was going to win. I said they had a chance to pull up an upset. But I feel that if they get better on the offensive side of the ball, then they'll be there at the end in the conversation for the playoff. But I was very happy with the performance of the team overall, especially the defense.
Yeah, I was happy for new head coach Marcus Freeman, who's the second youngest head coach in Power 5 football and happens to be one of the very few African-American head coaches coaching a big-time program. So for your first game, I thought that was excellent. And I'm not sure
against his alma mater, too.
Against his alma mater, which is also an add to it. I'm not sure if it was the offensive coordinator's issue or was it the fact that you had a redshirt freshman starting his first game and maybe they're not able to fully give him an expanded playbook because he's first game starting.
Let me rebut that. Last year, he was on the team and he got significant playing time because Brian Kelly couldn't figure out which one of his three quarterbacks he actually wanted to give the starting job to. So he had some time in that offense. Again, this is Tommy Rees still calling the plays. So he had familiarity with what's going on. Not opening up the playbook. I mean, if you chose him as your starter, then you should have some confidence that he can actually do it. I've seen him make great throws. I've seen him make some suspect throws, but he's young. But the point is, he can move the pocket, he can get out of the pocket and make plays happen. And they always have a solid backfield. Again, it bothered me that they didn't go with one of the hot hands early. They kept switching out, doing the 3 running back thing. So my thing is, he really needs to get continuity with a bell cow in the backfield and open up the playbook more for this young man. They say he's smart for him to be able to do some different things, but it is inexcusable for them not to get the ball to Mayer more. I mean, the throws they threw to him, he was manhandling the corner. Right. He was just snatching the ball and just going for yak. But then they went away from that in the second half, and I was just puzzled by it. Like, what plays are being called? He was getting ample time to throw the ball, and I know Ohio State defense is great. But that, and I'll give that kudos to the Notre Dame offensive line as well. They did an excellent job, blocking and getting time for Buckner to get the ball out.
Yeah, my last point on this, and what's up, Sense? Glad you could join in, partner.
Couldn't stay away.
Notre Dame was the more physical team.
Oh yeah.
On both sides of the ball on the lines, and that's a problem that Ohio State's run into ever since Coach Day took over. Mm-hmm. They can score a lot of points, but when they meet up with a team that's just as physical or more physical, like Michigan did to them last year, Michigan kept running the ball and they couldn't stop it. Mm-hmm. If they don't fix that,
you saying they a little soft?
Ohio State's gonna have a problem. I'm saying they're a finesse team. I wouldn't say soft; they just finesse. They don't play an aggressive style of football. So if you come at them, they will take a step back.
You punch them in the mouth, they'll back up.
Right, that's what I get ready to say, man. You get on that field, man. You gotta get down in the trenches. What's going on?
Yeah, and they were. You just got to do it on offense too. The offense just didn't do anything in the second half. You can't gas your defense like that.
Yeah.
No, but I will give Ohio State their props. Their defense has slightly improved, and like you said, Professor, they were able to make adjustments. So, it's going to be a good season. Definitely looking forward to that matchup. It's going to be at the Horseshoe this year. So it's going to be at the Horseshoe this year. So
that should be interesting. Your Wolverines look real good since. I mean, they were only playing Colorado State, but they did what they were supposed to do with Colorado State.
They did
51-7, put it on them, let them know. They ease up at the end, playing second and third stringers, and that's how you do it. Speaking of, doing what you're supposed to do, of course, number 1 Alabama, number 3 Georgia did what they're supposed to do.
Oregon, Knicks, trash.
I'm gonna say this: Oregon got a problem, man. Oregon has a major problem. Like, this pack, like they are falling off from the darlings of the Pac-12. It's USC's now.
USC look really, really good. Now, you can't count on getting 3 pick sixes on defense in a game too often. But, I mean, Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams look really good in their first games out there in USC, and they did their thing. Last night's game was really interesting. Number 4, Clemson, was playing ACC foe, so this is a division game. You used to this. They playing Georgia Tech, and they struggled.
Yeah, they did.
And their offense looked terrible.
Yeah, I'm not sold on DJ. I'm not.
I don't know. Dabo, what's going on, man? This is
I think Dabo's got a problem. He won 2 national championships, and he had by far the best offensive player in the country both times they won those national championships. Their quarterbacks were head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah.
But his offense hasn't adapted and change to the times. He's still running like power quarterback draws
and fumbling.
I mean, what are you doing? This is 2022. Why do you got a man running quarterback power draws
right.
and running off tackle
right
with your quarterback?
Not only that, Big Reg, but he already had ball security issues.
Yeah.
So why are you putting him in those positions to take hits like that and people punching at him and he fumbles?
That just didn't make any sense to me. That just and I said this 2 years ago that Clemson's offense has not adapted to the new college football. One thing, and again, y'all say he's just a homer. It took Saban getting crushed by Texas A&M and a couple other people. Remember, Saban was the first one complaining, we can't play this fast pace. It's not good for the defensive players. It's dangerous. He stepped back, went outside himself, got some offensive minds that he normally wouldn't deal with, and let them change his offense to an updated, fast-paced offense. True. Clemson hasn't done that.
I will also say this. I'm sorry. The loss of his coordinators also, you can see the that making a difference as well, with Venables and the offensive coordinator. So
yeah, the offensive coordinator's the new head coach of Virginia, and they had a big win over the weekend. So he got a chance to win his first game. So yeah, shout out, especially when you get a black head coach at UVA. That's interesting. They tried it once and they ran him out. So I'm hoping that he does a good job there. But yeah, Clemson, the ACC in general had a rough weekend. They didn't lose any games.
Well,
they had a rough weekend. I mean, both North Carolina and North Carolina State should have lost their games.
That App State.
I mean, Miami didn't
Carolina missing a field goal.
Have a bad game.
Oh,
yeah, that's.
Not only did the team against NC State miss a field goal that could have tied the game late in the game, they missed a game-winning field goal, a 39-yard field goal.
Right.
He missed the extra point to the left and then missed the game-winning field goal to the right.
To the right. Ridiculous.
And then UNC gave up 40 points in the fourth quarter to Appalachian State.
That's ridiculous.
Come on,
and then if he didn't overthrow that young man,
absolutely 2-point conversion.
They would have won.
Yeah, it all goes back to what you said. What you said though, Big Reg. It's like doing what you're supposed to do. You slept on. You took your foot off the gas. You played Appalachian State like they were some trash. They came back on you, and you barely won the game. Like you got to put them to bed early.
Yeah, it was rough. But not as bad as the Pac-12's weekend. I mean, as we mentioned, Georgia punished
Oregon.
Real quick. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Real quick. You kind of judged past one ACC school that didn't have a bad weekend, and that would be those guys in South Florida wearing orange and green. Yes, sir.
Don't. How
about you?
The Terps had a good weekend too. I
keep forgetting they're in the Big Ten now. Yeah, but your little U did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. But number 7 Utah goes to Florida. It was a road game and get punched in the mouth.
Yes, they did.
And lose 29-26 to Florida. Now, I'm an SEC guy. Y'all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's maybe, if you get really generous, the 4th best team in SEC. Realistically, the 5th or 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got Bama, Georgia, Texas A&M.
Mm.
You supposed to be the best team in the Pac-12, and you can't beat the middle of the Pac in the SEC?
Glad that's done. Because these people was talking about Utah gonna make the playoffs. I'm glad that's done.
Where's Utah ever been?
Yeah, I'm glad that's done.
Smith. Yeah, come on now. So
that's over.
All these pundits, man. They be
over.
lunching.
That's over. And before we get into notable game 2,
oh god,
week 2 games.
LSU.
Shout out to I forgot LSU.
Yeah, we was trying to skip that. Brian Kelly and his family.
I don't think Brian Kelly really wanted to come to the SEC, but he couldn't turn down the money.
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean, Brian, that was the only SEC team that lost the game this weekend.
Yeah, all about the money. And that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Truly embarrassing.
That was embarrassing.
At basically a home game.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Yeah. So, but we got shout out to Jackson State University and Coach Prime.
Man.
All the stuff they're going through.
J Minnie.
In Jackson, Mississippi, with not having water, having to take this football team off campus and put them in hotels so they could at least bathe and get some bottled water. They went down to Florida, played their opening game, and put it on FAMU.
Oh, real quick, shout out to our little cousin. Even though they were on the losing side, she made her debut playing for the Marching 100. So that was the highlight. But yeah, Florida. I mean, FAMU, Lord Jesus.
And FAMU's supposed to be the second best team in their conference. They put it on FAMU, and Shador's
Sanders,
28
for 31. 5 touchdowns.
300 yards, yes, sir.
Yeah. 4 touchdowns.
He did great.
Yeah, he did work. He did work. Prime son did work.
Man, any way we could put him in a Morehouse uniform in a couple of weeks so we can punish Howard, just put a disguise on him.
Speaking of which, I was going to say that Jackson State FAMU is going to be a good rivalry. I can see that definitely, being revisited and like starting to become a little rivalry.
Yeah. I hope that Prime stays there, but I think somebody's going to throw money at Prime that he's not going to be able to, that he's not going to want to turn down to go to a bigger school.
You think he's going to leave before his sons go out?
Alabama.
You think he's going to leave out of there before his sons graduate?
And Nick made up.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be FSU.
He's going to go to Florida State. Yeah.
That's his alma mater. You know that.
Exactly. And he wanted that job in the first place, but they hired the current coach, Norvell. He squeaked through a win. But if they don't have a good season, I can see them coming back and saying, "We sorry, Dion. Come on. And can you bring your son and your number 2 player quarterback with you? They're supposed to go to FSU anyway."
Dion probably already called the coach and be like, "You better win. You better win."
They gonna be calling me. They gonna be calling 21.
So this Saturday we got a couple of nice games in the NCAA. Starting off with Fox's noon kickoff prime show. We got number 1 Alabama going to Austin, Texas to play Texas at home, which should be interesting. Another interesting game that most people won't check out, but South Carolina plays at number 16 Arkansas. South Carolina has Oklahoma transfer quarterback there who got supplanted last year at Oklahoma by Caleb Williams. Then he transferred out of Oklahoma, even though Williams left, and he's now playing at South Carolina. Yeah, Ratliff. Now playing at South Carolina. But Arkansas's got a good young team, so that'll be interesting. The other big one, you got number 20 Kentucky playing number 12 Florida, number 24 Tennessee at number 17 Pitt. Now, if Tennessee beats Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh, then the ACC is going to be left with Clemson alone. Pittsburgh's the defending ACC champions. Everybody said NC State was going to win the ACC this year. So that's going to just eliminate all of them.
Miami. Don't count out Miami. They can
Vols. I got the Vols.
That's true. And I'm interested in seeing number 10 USC. They play at Stanford this week. Last week was a warm-up. Let's see what Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams can do against a team that's not great, but a decent Pac-12 team. Okay. Let's move on to the NFL. And I'm more interested in the news than the big games, but what did y'all think about Russell Wilson getting that 5-year extension from the Denver Broncos as a DB, I forget the DB's name, said that Walmart money is different.
Yeah.
They literally have owned the organization for less than a month and signed a quarterback to a 5-year, $245 million extension, $50 million signing bonus for putting his name to paper, $124 million fully guaranteed at signing, with up to $161 million guaranteed for injury.
Yeah, that new money says, "In Russ we trust."
And Russ we trust.
Absolutely.
I mean, and Stephen A. put it perfectly. They haven't had a good quarterback since Peyton. This was an investment for the long term.
Yeah, so that ties him to Denver for 7 years. If they wanted to, they could probably get out of the contract before the 2026 season with about a $31 million cap hit. But you got him for 2022, 2023, 24, 25. And if Russ does anywhere close to what I think he can do, he gonna see all that $245 million.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So to answer your question, I think it's a very good signing. Certainly is resetting the quarterback market between he and Kyler Murray the way it should have been. I still don't know what Cleveland was thinking, but I think that we all said it, that if you give Russ at least a decent offensive line and some weapons that he can use, that he'll return to form like he did in those Super Bowl years. Well, Denver has a good, solid offensive line. He has some solid weapons that he can use, a young receiving core, a nice, I know J3 don't like the second running back, but he has 2 solid running backs in that backfield. And I really think he'll be able to work that same magic that he was doing when he was, I mean, the narrative that they gave Russ, I don't appreciate on his way out of Seattle. You know, when a white quarterback cries and moans about stuff, you know, they pony up and get them what they want. But here he was saying, look, I go Hawks. I love being here, but can you get me an offensive line? Can you tailor the offense to my talents? Can you do those things? And they tried to treat him like he was some diva. Now he's in a much better situation. Yeah, I know he has a rookie head coach, but I think they're catering the offense to Russ, and he'll be able to shine in that system.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely going to be effective, because you're right. You hit the nail on the head. He needed the offensive line so he could produce. Yeah. And now that he has it, y'all better watch out for them Broncos.
Yeah. I think we might see what we thought were very good elite head coaches get exposed this year. Ooh. I think Pete Carroll is going to get exposed in Seattle.
Of course, with Geno Smith.
Yeah.
And I also think that the GOAT, Bill Belichick, is going to get exposed in New England.
Yeah. They got Miami first, too. Ooh,
so,
yeah.
So what do you guys think with Russ getting this new deal? And he knew money. He just came to the Broncos. They just traded for him and gave this man $245 million. Here you go.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, here's $50 million. I heard you just bought the most expensive mansion in Denver, so we know you need a little extra cash. Here, take this so you can pay it off.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Did you check out how big his smile was at the U.S. Open? I mean, he wasn't just smiling at Serena.
Can you blame him?
Because he got that big money.
That Colorado air hit different.
So what does this do for Lamar Jackson, whose self-imposed deadline is either Thursday or Saturday? Because he said when the NFL season starts, he's not negotiating anymore.
No more talk.
So I don't know if he meant when the Ravens season starts or when the first game starts. So,
they
better come up off that bread.
Yeah, this might be a mess, because if they mess around and have to franchise tag him, it's going to be something like $50 million per. You know, and I'm trying to think what Bisciotti is kind of thinking in this situation, because what people are saying that if they come in between Russ and what Watson got, they should be able to get the deal done. But Shoddy, I guess, wants to stick to his guns and not offer that type of money for his franchise MVP quarterback, which I think is dumb, because if they play this game, not only will Lamar stay healthy and help make them pony up that 50+ million per year if they franchise tag him, but then they'll end up creating bad blood where he'll eventually walk out the door.
Yeah. It's just stupid. Now, every time, the more they delay, the number just kept going up. They delayed it. Deshaun Watson got $230 million. Oh, that's an outlier. Okay. They delayed it. Then you get Kyler Murray, who got $230.5 million. So he went above that. And he got $190 million basically guaranteed. So you're like, now you got the Russ deal. Well, Russ didn't take that much guaranteed, but he can go and say, I'm just 25. Russ is 32. I'm 7 years younger than him. I got an MVP. He doesn't.
Yeah.
And still balling.
I've been here putting in work. He's brand new to that organization. So he ain't got no blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. Nope.
And they just gave him $245 million. That's $49 million a year. So the numbers, is at least the number's 245.5 minimum to 250 over 5 years, and they got to come in somewhere between 196 to 200 million.
Good luck.
Just to have him say, "I consider it," because I think it's right. If Deshaun Watson got 230 million guaranteed, I got more statistics and more accolades to him. And I don't care if you say that's an outlier or not. He in my division, and he got that money.
Yeah.
And he with a new team.
And you gonna blink. You're gonna blink, and Justin Herbert gonna be up.
Gonna get it.
And then what's
that?
Meanwhile,
Miami rubbing their hands like this. Like, come on down to Miami.
Because if Tua, I think Tua is gonna have a bounce back.
I think Tua's gonna have a good year.
Gonna quiet all that noise about another quarterback coming to Miami.
The more and more things came out, it looks like the former coach, who I think is still a good head coach, but Brian Flores tried to do the Bill Belichick tough love, gruff guy. I'm a defense. We're going to make this defense oriented, was always getting on Tua. And you can't treat everybody the same way, especially these younger players. Tua's a guy that he doesn't have to be coddled, but Tua needs positive reinforcement to make him feel good. And with this new coach who's doing that, and with his players coming in, you got the cheating and all that, they realize his personality. So I think Tua's going to have a good year. But, yeah, the Ravens going to play that game that if Lamar is serious, Lamar's not going to let his teammates down, so he's going to play. But if they try to franchise him, he doesn't have to sign that tag. See, that's the thing everybody's saying. Well, we're going to franchise tag him. Okay. He said, I'm not going to sign it. Then what you going to do? You're going to either have to trade him or pay him. Because he said, I won't play unless you give me what I want, and I'm not signing that tag. And they say, well, you're going to sit out a year? Deshaun Watson sat out a year, and he still made $230 million. So I'm good.
Yeah.
I can rest my body.
And based on what he means to that offense, especially, I don't see the Ravens doing much. I know they like Huntley, but Huntley is not Lamar Jackson. We need to tell people that Huntley is not Lamar Jackson
by any stretch.
Give him that time, he could be.
Just pay him his money.
Oh, come on, J3. I see Huntley play. Right. He could do some nice things, but he's not video game like Lamar Jackson.
Lamar different.
Just give him his money. Just give him his money.
And Russell Wilson has a Super Bowl ring, but let's be honest. He won that Super Bowl ring because of the defense and Marshawn Lynch.
Which he should have had two because of
Marshawn Lynch. They tried to let him run him. He threw the interception in the end zone when they should have gave it to Marshawn Lynch, and he had two rings. So he did improve and change as he got older, just like Brady. The first couple of Super Bowl wins that Brady won with New England, those were about the New England's defense and their running game. Now, the other four that he won in New England, that was all about Tom.
Yeah. I will say this about Russell Wilson. Before he hurt that thumb or that finger last year, he even running for his life, he was killing it. He was on pace for MVP at that time.
He extended plays like nobody's business.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I definitely agree with you. All right, so what games are intriguing for you guys before we get out of here?
Oh, we just said it. Denver going into Seattle because I'm looking for Russ to put up. What was the Alabama score?
55-0.
Yeah. I'm looking for Russ to be like, I'm sorry what I'm about to do to you, Mr. Adams, but we about to kill this defense.
So yeah, I'll say this. I'm gonna take the bait and go for Tampa Bay versus Dallas. That's gonna be the
that's gonna be an interesting game. Dallas lost both tackles. They lost a guard.
They signed Jason Peters.
Come on now, he's 40 years old.
Jason Peters.
Stop.
They're gonna be
even they knew that was snap. That's a in case of emergency break glass, and we really don't want to break this glass. They put him on the practice squad. Come on now.
You might as well call Orlando Pace. Oh, I'm sorry, he's been retired for a while.
Yeah.
Baker,
yeah. You got the Panthers playing the Browns. That should be real interesting, especially with Baker's chirps about what he want to do.
Yeah, Brown's gonna punish them, man. It's a good story, but Baker going to get his feelings hurt. Myles Garrett might have to wrap his helmet around it.
I was about to say, there's that dude named Myles Garrett on the other side. So good luck.
Yeah.
But I know J3. Did you draft him in fantasy? J3 is he your quarterback? Baker Mayfield.
Oh no, I thought you said Myles Garrett. I drafted Myles Garrett. I thought you said that.
Nah. He talking about Baker Mayfield. Nah.
Okay.
Baker may have a sneaky good season if that offensive line can hold up a little bit. So we'll see. The Bills-Rams game is going to be interesting because I think the Rams are going to have a little bit of an attitude because everybody's talking about the Chargers are going better Super Bowl contenders than them in their own stadium. And everybody's saying that the Bills are the favorites to win the Super Bowl. So the Rams are going to have a little chip on their shoulders.
Yeah, and Von Miller talking a little bit of smack
exactly.
too. Yeah, he talking a little bit of smack too.
So that's going to be interesting. The Saints and the Falcons game is going to be intriguing.
Jameis,
we finally see what Jameis is going to look like with this new offense and with all these weapons. And what are the Falcons in year 2? I mean, they got that crazy tight end, and then the draft pick.
I drafted them.
They drafted the 6'6" wide receiver that's got crazy range. So it's a bunch of good games.
But who's the quarterback? Super Mario with the Falcons?
Yeah.
Mariota's still the quarterback.
He had a good preseason. He'd be all right.
Steelers, Bengals. Steelers gave Mitch the start. He's voted captain. So how long can Mitch hold on to that job?
Sorry, Ed. And DJ.
The Kenny Pickett era might come sooner than you think.
Yeah, they coming in last in this division this year.
Patriots, Dolphins. So, I mean, there's a bunch of good games, interesting games that are going on. Packers, Vikings early. Chiefs, Cardinals. I mean, everybody said, have y'all heard a bunch of prognosticators actually saying that they think the Chiefs might not even make the playoffs?
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that.
What are they smoking?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Even though it is a stacked AFC West, but still.
Yeah, but Andy Reid.
And Patrick Mahomes ain't having that. So, it's gonna be a good one.
I see you, Renee.
I hear you, Ma. They just trying to get a young fella a little extra time, get his feet wet. I'd say by week 5 that you'll see the young fella in there. Unless Mitch learns something in Buffalo and finally with a good team can show
he's shifty with the feet. He's shifty with the feet. He's mobile. So we'll see.
And last but not least, I think Captain Kirk gonna give it to Mr. Green Bay up there. That's gonna be an intriguing first game.
That's intriguing. Who does Detroit play? That's the team I'm looking out for.
Oh, they got a good game. I forgot.
I'll tell you in a second. They play Philadelphia.
Yeah, they play Philly. That's an intriguing game because
I like
Jalen
Detroit. I like
Hurts
Detroit.
Second year with some new weapons versus Detroit. Everybody's looking, seeing what they're going to do. So yeah,
Hard Knocks overrated. They're gonna get spanked.
Oh, stop it! Aiden Hutchinson is that dude.
What?
Hutchinson is that dude.
Come on, man.
Philly's got to roll up on that joint.
BJ, stop being delusional. You sound like Ed right now. Stop.
Right. I told you.
Steelers are not winning the division. Stop it.
That ain't happening.
Man, nowhere close.
All right.
They got to beat the Bengals first.
It's time for us to get up out of here, fellas. We ran a little bit longer than usual. J3, why don't you hit us up with your final post?
Yeah, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Richard Booth, the local bowler. He rolled a 300 on last Friday. Good job, homie.
That's nice. That's nice. Lead. So it's official. He either getting the ring or getting the diamond for the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Sense, what you got for me?
I just want to say how excited I am about this football season. I'm not even going. I had so much that I was going to talk about basketball-wise, but I'm just real excited about football right now. And I can't wait for Sunday. So I'm ready for some football.
Professor, what you got, bro?
All right, I'm gonna do an ode to Jalen and Jacoby and say, hey, ladies. Definitely got to shout out my wife Janine and me Short. They had birthdays over the weekend. That is Big Reggie's lovely wife. Thank you so much to the Lord for giving our ladies another year around the sun. And we had a wonderful and great weekend celebrating, our ladies. So love you, boo. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Yes, the birthday twins. We also got shout out our cousin / brother, Big Wheezy. All three of them had the same birthday, so shout out to the September 4th game. Happy birthday! I just like to say again, thank you for all the well wishes and all that, and most importantly, thank you to my wife and daughter. G actually came over across the pond. We had previously planned a vacation, but they left their vacation spot, drove all the way home to go to my follow-up appointment with my surgeon last Friday, which we got good results from.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Mama Goodman.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, bless you got my grandmother's birthday, so I know. That's why I knew I always really liked you. You got grandma's birthday. So I know you good peoples.
Amen.
So, yeah. So they were going to stay home with me, but I told my wife I wanted her to celebrate her birthday and don't cancel all our plans. So she's up in the Hamptons right now with our baby girl enjoying her birthday weekend. So, again, thank you, everybody. Most importantly, thank you to my two ladies. I appreciate y'all for all y'all do for me. All right. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. We're here each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for our live show. You can catch us up on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, Positions on Sports Talk Show. If for some reason you can't check the live show, you can download the shows. We upload them to both of those outlets. And also, if you prefer the podcast platform, take any of your preferred podcast platform, put in Position on Sports Talk Show. We are there. Thanks to Professor J. He uploads our shows so you can catch us in multiple places. And again, if you need to reach out, Facebook again, you can hit us at Positions on Sports, Twitter at Positions on SBO1. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, be safe out there. We'll see you next Tuesday. We appreciate you. Peace.
God bless.